it doesn't make him look good. He looks awkward with it. This accent.
And I think this style would be really cute if you took some ribbons and sewed it at.
So the reason why we're putting a shower cap over the top is we're going to...
The 1990s were the decade that brought us boy bands, grunge music, neon everything, and, well, some of the boldest fashion choices ever seen in human history. The 90s were all about pushing the limits, whether it was frosted tips, platform sneakers that defied gravity, or clothes that looked like they were stolen straight from a sci-fi movie set. Some trends caught on like wildfire, while others fizzled out as quickly as they appeared. For every iconic look, there was a fashion fail that left people scratching their heads in disbelief. In this video, we're diving deep into the dusty closets of the past to uncover 25 innovative fashion trends from the 1990s that failed miserably. In the mid-1990s, JNCO exploded onto the scene with jeans so wide they seemed engineered for parachuting rather than pedestrian life. Originating from Southern California's skate and graffiti communities, the brand's signature ultra-baggy silhouette ballooned from the hips to leg openings measuring up to 50 inches around. Embroidered flames, skulls, and ferocious animals adorned back pockets, projecting a rebellious, anti-mainstream ethos.
Cover your shoes, and as you can see, even when I'm taking steps here, these suckers are almost always covering my shoes, and they're not quite...
Wearers initially prized the comfort and counterculture statement, but daily practicality suffered. Navigating crowded sidewalks, climbing stairs, or boarding public transport became exercises in balance and spatial awareness. Retailers soon reported rising return rates as consumers discovered the denim literally swallowed their legs. By the early 2000s, the trend had fizzled almost as quickly as it ignited, proof that audacious style must still accommodate real-world movement. If you thought jeans that swallowed your legs were a challenge, what happens when denim barely clings to your hips at all? By the late 1990s, low-rise jeans had cemented themselves as the quintessential symbol of youthful daring. From Britney Spears' red carpet ensembles to mainstream mall culture, trousers that hugged the hips, often 3 to 4 inches below the natural waist, defined the era. Designers like Alexander McQueen and labels such as True Religion championed the look on runways, which trickled into fast fashion chains. The result? Frequent wardrobe malfunctions, exposed undergarments, and a generation engaged in near-constant tugging and readjustment. Despite the edgy appeal, wearers reported back strain and skin irritation from the tight, low-cut waistbands.
Theme or item that I'm going to be styling around is low-waisted jeans. I really love low-waisted jeans, and I'm so glad they're back and trendy again because I've always been a fan of low-waisted jeans. I just find they're...
By the mid-2000s, shoppers abandoned the fad in favor of mid- and high-rise styles offering better support and coverage. Today, low-rise remains a niche choice, remembered more for its occasional whale tail moments than lasting wearability. In the 1990s, power dressing took an unexpected detour as suit jackets ballooned past the fingertips and pooled around ankles, with trousers draping slackly over sneakers. Inspired by 80s Miami Vice yachting suits and Wall Street archetypes, the oversized suit became a statement of comfort over convention. Yet it felt indisputably juvenile, like someone had borrowed Dad's attire and forgotten any tailoring.
I used to wear cropped denims for many years, and I still do. I love a cropped denim. Well, maybe a year ago I started to
Shoulder seams frequently drooped well below natural shoulder lines, creating bulky, boxy silhouettes that swallowed wearers whole. While comfort was undeniable, the look undermined the sharp, authoritative presence that traditional suits convey in boardrooms or formal events. By the end of the decade, fashion returned to clean, tailored lines as attendees rediscovered the power of a well-fitted blazer. Oversized suiting remains an occasional avant-garde choice on runways, but no longer a mainstream staple. Sweater vests, sleeveless, V-neck knits often patterned in argyle or stripes, enjoyed a brief resurgence in the 1990s, marketed as preppy staples suitable for golf courses or classroom aisles. Yet their revival felt misguided. Layering a vest over a collared shirt introduced bulk without warmth, while the narrow shoulders and hem often sat stiffly against the body. Critics argued that what once served functional layering had devolved into a dated fashion relic. channeling nerdy grandpa vibes rather than contemporary cool.
Weight and windproof vest, but it is filled with 800 fill down, so very toasty underneath, and all covered in this nylon ripstop fabric, which is made from recycled fishing nets. It's a great.
Despite attempts by youth subcultures to rebrand the vest as ironic chic, mass adoption never followed, and the garment quickly reverted to its niche preppy associations. If sweater vests added bulk with no payoff, the next trend stripped things down, sometimes a little too much for comfort. Tube tops, strapless, elasticized bands of fabric clinging to the chest, first emerged in the 1950s and resurged in the 1990s as carefree summer wear. Teens and young adults embraced these tops for their minimalist appeal and beach-to-party versatility. However, the lack of shoulder support meant perpetual fidgeting. One wrong move could send the garment slipping dangerously, prompting endless wardrobe checks.
Adding some extra structure to the top. And here's our rainbow tube top. How fun is this for summer?
Parents and schools often banned the style, citing modesty and distraction concerns. The constant adjusting and risk of revealing more than intended eventually led many to favor sleeved alternatives. Today, tube tops remain a nostalgic relic of 90s fashion risk-taking, remembered more for their malfunctions than their flair. Nothing encapsulates the 1990s quite like neon windbreakers. Stiff nylon jackets splashed with jagged patterns in electric pinks, greens, and yellows. These coats weren't just bright, they crackled and swished with every step, ensuring no wearer went unnoticed. Originally designed for athletic workouts, they migrated into streetwear, paired with leggings or acid-washed jeans. Yet, beneath the nostalgia, the fabric trapped heat, wrinkled instantly, and clung uncomfortably to the skin. By day, the reflective sheen looked toy-like rather than tactical, prompting ridicule from style purists. Though reissues pop up in retro capsules, modern designers often opt for understated silhouettes and muted palettes, proof that while neon can excite, it rarely endures beyond its own era. Now, if your jacket made you visible from space, why not top it off with eyewear that barely covered your eyes? Alongside neon tees and fluorescent accessories, slim-frame sunglasses with barely there lenses became everywhere in the 90s. These micro shades, often no wider than 2 inches, came in candy colors like baby blue, rosy pink, and zingy chartreuse. Rocked low on the nose to give peekaboos of your eyes, they were all about making a bold, fashion-first statement rather than blocking ultraviolet rays. Pop icons like Justin Timberlake flashed them under stage lights, and Hollywood stars such as Cameron Diaz posed for paparazzi, rocking that barely there look.
All right, so now we're all finished with the drilling and the edging and the polishing.
But squinting in bright sun turned into constant eye strain, and the near-invisible coverage meant real sun protection was nil. As the novelty faded, fashion fans shifted back to larger, wraparound frames that marry style with real function. Today, you'll spot the micro-silhouettes mostly in high-fashion shoots, where they feel more playful throwback than everyday eyewear. When 90s clubgoers wanted to shine brighter than the disco ball, roll-on body glitter seemed perfect. Tubes of chunky colored glitter and sticky gels promised a head-to-toe sparkle that would last all night. Spray it on arms, shoulders, even hair, and you'd catch every strobe light until you walked outside and looked like a walking craft project. Glitter stuck in clothing seams, chair cushions, and makeup brushes for days, and removing it became a multi-step cleanup mission. Dermatologists eventually warned that prolonged use of adhesive gels could irritate sensitive skin, while salon pros groaned through hours of glitter removal for overzealous clients. By the late 90s, most swapped out the mess for shimmer eyeshadows and metallic highlighters, products that give you glow without the multi-day fallout. Now, body glitter pops up only in festival fashion or costume parties, where its mess is almost part of the fun. Body glitter brought the sparkle.
Chunky glitter. Please tell me you guys can see this. It looks so good in person. Especially if you already have some body.
But what came next had us trading shimmer for sore feet, and we wore it anyway. Few items scream 90s nostalgia like translucent jelly shoes. Made from PVC plastic in bright, glittery hues, these sandals were cheap, waterproof, and oh-so Instagram-ready back in the day. Kids loved splashing through puddles without worry, but few noticed how the rigid straps pinched toes until the blisters set in. Sweat built up under the glossy surface, turning feet into itchy, smelly messes by midday. Even when big fast fashion chains like Primark and River Island reissued jelly styles in 2025, TikTokers swiftly reminded everyone of the old problems: aching arches, trapped moisture, and an unmistakable plastic odor. Fashion critics now say jelly shoes can be a fun splash for a pool day, but not a daily go-to. If you're tempted to revive the trend, invest in cushioned insoles and breathable socks to soften the nostalgia-driven pain. In the early 2000s, decorative waistwear took a plastic turn with disc belts, wide PVC straps dotted with oversized circular buckles that locked into place like toy pieces. Celebrities like Victoria Beckham sported them at events, making the look feel edgy and futuristic. But slip one on, and you'd quickly learn these belts did almost nothing to hold up your jeans. They were purely ornamental. The broad, chunky discs often snagged on jacket hems, and every movement made a low-grade, clacking noise. When fast fashion brands brought them back for a nostalgic reboot, social media feeds filled with scoffs. Cute. But what's the point? Styling experts now recommend choosing belts that actually shape your waist. Think supple leather straps with classic buckles or structured corset belts, rather than pieces that serve more gimmick than function. Overalls have always been a statement piece, but in the 90s, the real flex wasn't wearing them properly. It was letting one strap dangle like you just didn't care. This rebellious styling trick was everywhere, thanks to hip-hop duo Criss Cross, who famously wore their clothes backward and turned slouchy overalls into a cultural moment. Will Smith also rocked the look on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, giving it mainstream cool points. But while it might have looked edgy on TV, the real-world experience was a mess. That loose strap, it whipped your side, caught on chairs, and had you constantly tugging things back into place. Plus, unless you were dancing on stage, the half-on half-off vibe just made you look rushed, or worse, careless. As the music video mimicry faded and practicality won out, the trend buckled, literally.
This out on a date, I would wear this out to meet my girlfriends, I would wear this out to do errands. This is a little bit more of like a late afternoon look, I feel like. Or if I was...
Today, it's remembered more for its awkward functionality than any lasting fashion legacy. It was fun, but fashion moved on. Skirts baffled everyone in the 90s. Were they shorts? A skirt? Both? Designers thought they struck gold by stitching a skirt's front flap onto a pair of shorts, blending modesty with movement. The result popped up in school uniforms, picnics, and tennis matches, offering the charm of a skirt with the coverage of shorts. But in practice...
And then instead of being just a solid skirt all the way around, this is essentially two different pieces. So there's this front piece.
The flap often sat at an awkward angle, making wearers look half-dressed or confused. Early versions ballooned oddly at the hips, creating unflattering folds. Today's athletic skirts are sleek and functional, reminders that the original 90s hybrids are best left in the fashion vault. Nothing captured 90s neckwear like the tattoo choker, stretchy, web-like coils of plastic hugging your throat like an inked ribbon.
A staple in the world of fashion, the choker was an absolute must-have for all my fellow 90s gals. These bad boys were featured in...
Born in gothic circles but sold at mall kiosks, Claire's, and quarter-operated vending pods, these memory metal loops mimicked delicate tattoos on tweens and teens. Think Sabrina and the Spice Girls. Budget-friendly and deceptively simple, they quickly revealed their downside. Hours of wear left itchy, red impressions, and coils snapped or stretched out well before sunset. Today, tattoo chokers pop up only as nostalgic nods at costume parties, not as serious style contenders. The notorious bowl cut was less a hairstyle and more a household hack gone wrong. A mixing bowl placed on the crown, snipped around its edge, and voila! a uniform, helmet-like fringe. By the mid-90s, it spread like wildfire among pre-teens and teens, championed on screen by Jonathan Taylor Thomas and immortalized in school portraits everywhere.
This wig is so 90s, like it's inspired by Halle Berry, Adina Howard, Nia Long.
Its appeal lay in sheer convenience. Parents could DIY at home and skip barbershop bills, but the trade-off was stark. Zero layering, zero movement, and a flattened silhouette that made faces appear rounder and heads look oddly boxy. Styling products only accentuated the cut's rigid geometry, turning hair into a shiny, plastic-edged helmet. Within a few years, the cultural consensus was clear. The bowl cut was a cringeworthy relic, a snapshot of childhood thriftiness that nobody wanted to revisit once they'd outgrown their parents' kitchenware. The rat tail was a baffling 1990s hairstyle that clung to the necks of rebellious kids, frustrating parents and school officials alike. Imagine a tidy, layered, or buzzed cut, except for a lone strand growing long at the nape.
Cutting ceremony going on. How long you been growing this rat's tail, Adam?
What? About a year and a half.
Oh, sad days. Okay.
Supposed to be edgy, it instead resembled a misplaced garden vine. Maintaining it meant precise trims around the head and endless battles against split ends on that dangling tail, elastic bands snapping, scissors misfiring. Its off-balance look and constant tug made it infamous. Schools banned it as a distraction, and parents begged for the clippers. In the end, the rat tail became a collective cringe artifact, a final hairstyle outcast before cleaner cuts reclaimed the norm. In the 1990s, the humble fanny pack became the ultimate emblem of utilitarian fashion, strapped snugly around the waist, resting squarely over the stomach like a curious marsupial pouch. Designed to free up hands and pockets, it boasted zippered compartments for wallets, cameras, and forgotten Tamagotchis, but it came with an unmistakable style penalty: instant sartorial aging. Worn by theme park dads and globe-trotting tourists, the bulging pouch added unexpected girth to silhouettes, clashed with tailored jackets, and obliterated any sense of sleekness.
I'll be running through the pros and cons of using a travel sling versus using a hip pack, as well as sharing which one I will be using on my future trips.
Teenagers who dared to co-opt the look found themselves saddled with an accessory that felt more parent on vacation than street-style statement. Its canvas and nylon build often faded and frayed, further undermining any pretension to trendiness. Bondage pants, born from punk's raw energy and goth's dark mystique, stormed late 90s fashion as the ultimate rebellion badge. Laden with metal chains, grommets, adjustable straps, and oversized buckles, and cut from thick black cotton or faux leather.
I'm so in love with how these turned out. Every single part of these pants I am just totally in love with. I think my favorite part is the fact that they actually go past my ankles and over my shoes because
they flew off Hot Topic racks and into underground club scenes. Meant to exude counterculture grit, they instead turned wearers into walking hardware stores. Chains clinking with each step, zippers digging into hips, and sitting became a tactical operation. Navigating airport security or crowded concerts felt like slapstick routines of startled pat-downs. By the early 2000s, the novelty had worn off, and bondage pants disappeared nearly as fast as they arrived. Mesh shirts exploded onto the scene as a bold flex, sheer grids revealing chiseled abs and ink, often in black or neon. Born in underground clubs and high-fashion runways, they promised a look-at-me vibe for fitness fanatics. But step outside the strobe lights, and mesh quickly lost its charm. One stray snag could ruin the whole piece.
Trim it a bit more. So that's all what's left. Don't know if you can see, just like a little lump. So I'm nervous, I don't know what to do next.
While the open weave clashed with everyday outfits. Wearers felt exposed yet constrained, stuck between too much and too little coverage. Pairing mesh with leather or layered bralettes often tips into cringeworthy rather than cutting edge. Today, mesh lives on mostly as a nostalgic joke, TikTok flashbacks, not streetwear staples. Parachute pants, those voluminous nylon trousers with a sagging crotch and billowing thighs, rocketed to fame thanks to MC Hammer's "You Can't Touch This." Designed for breakdancers craving unrestricted leg movement, their accordion pleats and lightweight fabric enabled gravity-defying spins and splits. But once the spotlight dimmed, off-stage wearers found themselves swimming in fabric. Their natural silhouette buried under synthetic folds. The exaggerated proportions rendered even slender legs comically stunted. What started as an ingenious dancewear innovation quickly became a sartorial punchline. So much so that by the mid-90s, even Hammer himself had moved on, cementing parachute pants as a playful relic of an era. In the late 90s and early 2000s, nothing screamed action-ready like a clear plastic visor perched high on the forehead, paired with gravity-defying gel spikes shooting skyward. Born on tennis courts and adopted by boy band dancers and TRL fans across the country, the translucent visor offered quirky sun protection.
The Velcro adjustable closure in the back helps create a comfortable fit perfectly sized for your head,
while the strobing spikes signaled youthful rebellion. Popular in sports arenas and neon dance floors, every spike was sculpted to a perfect point, and every visor trimmed in fluorescent logos. Off-stage, the flimsy plastic warped, straps pinched, and any breeze threatened the style, leaving this extreme mashup as pure nostalgic fun. Frosted tips were the ultimate 90s hair flex. Dark roots topped with narrow bands of platinum blonde, meticulously styled into spiky, tousled peaks. What began with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys quickly spread to every mall, school hallway, and local barbershop, armed with tubs of LA looks. Sport gal teens invested 10 minutes each morning coaxing their tips into flirty, gravity-defying points. The effect? A high-contrast halo that, when freshly done, felt edgy and modern. In reality, those icy streaks often looked like oversweetened cupcake frosting perched atop your scalp. The bleach left hair brittle, prone to breakage, and required constant toning to fend off brassy yellow hues. In the 1990s and early 2000s, brands like FUBU, Tommy Hilfiger, and Nike transformed clothing into moving billboards by emblazoning oversized logos across chests, backs, and sleeves. The theory: more logos, more status. The reality: outfits resembled walking advertisements.
So does quality increase with price? Well, as far as I've experienced, paying attention to
sacrificing subtlety and individuality. Flashy logomania peaked until a minimalist backlash ushered in clean silhouettes and understated branding. Today, garments from that era survive in thrift store bins, meme accounts, and nostalgic fashion roundups, reminding us that true style thrives on restraint, not excess. In the 1990s, leopard print roared back into mainstream fashion, plastered on everything from mini dresses to handbags and even hair scrunchies. What was once seen as glamorous or edgy quickly became overkill when mass retailers overused the print in clashing tones and cheap fabrics.
To put them a little bit higher, and of course you can accessorize it with jewelry, handbags, and some sexy shoes as always.
Instead of looking fierce, many outfits came off as tacky or cartoonish. While a few icons managed to pull it off, most people ended up looking like they were headed to a costume party. The trend eventually lost its cool factor, retreating to niche subcultures and ironic throwback events. In the 90s, bandanas weren't just headgear, they were a cultural code. Worn, folded across the forehead, tied around ponytails, or slung from belt loops, these versatile squares of fabric became the era's ultimate accessory. Grunge kids rocked paisley ones with flannel shirts and ripped jeans, while hip-hop icons tied them gang-style or used them to match their oversized tracksuits.
Some volume with this look, so I'm just pulling out the little ponytail and then bringing the front pieces out just to create some more texture right in that area.
Even pop stars like Aaliyah and Britney gave bandanas a glam twist, turning a humble piece of cotton into a statement. They hinted at rebellion, identity, or just an excellent bad hair day fix. You could spot them in hallways, concerts, and MTV countdowns alike. The best part? They were cheap, customizable, and completely unisex. Bandanas didn't just accessorize outfits, they anchored them. Whether you wore yours edgy or artsy, one thing was clear: this square had serious swagger. Oversized, floppy, and usually topped with a giant flower, Blossom hats were a fashion fever dream sparked by one sitcom, Blossom. Actress Mayim Bialik's character wore them religiously, and suddenly every mall in America was filled with girls trying to pull off the same quirky charm. These hats weren't subtle. They screamed individuality and teenage spirit, often paired with baby doll dresses, denim vests, or chunky Mary Janes. The felt or velvet texture gave them a vintage thrift store vibe, while the massive faux flowers glued to one side added a whimsical, slightly chaotic energy.
I discovered Blossom and I discovered these hats. And I was like, I really need one. I just need one. And then I thought, well, what's stopping me from getting just a plain, like, basic
For a while, they were the look, part boho, part drama club, part fashion rebellion. But like Blossom's fast-talking monologues, the trend burned bright and faded fast. Still, for a few glorious years, everyone wanted to be the girl with the biggest hat and the loudest flower.